questions? Alright, let's go to a new page. And here we have a negative 3.09 minus 4.6 minus 27.3. Okay, let's start with the first two. Here we got a negative 3.09 and a negative 4.6, and what are we doing, adding or subtracting here?
Did you do the reverse?
Well,
You're starting out subtracting, but usually you change it in the next step.
yeah, that's right. You're gonna make that minus sign a plus, right? Change the sign of the next term only. Nothing, not after here, but just this next one. So you're actually doing what? Adding or subtracting? You're adding negatives, right? So we're going to go ahead and put a plus sign so that we're going to end up with, our answer is going to be a plus or minus. You got a negative minus negative is going to be making it more negative, right? See what I mean about the sign? You have to remember that you're adding, right? And then you're going to keep the signs when you're adding negatives. You're adding negatives here, so your answer is going to be negative. Okay, so we're adding, so that'll be 9 plus 0 is 9. 0 plus 6 is 6. 3 plus 4 is 7. So that's a negative 7.69 minus 27.3. Again, we're going to apply property of subtraction, so we're going to make the minus sign a plus, right? And then what? Right, change the sign, make it a negative 27.3. So again, off to the side, we're going to put a negative 7.69 plus a negative, give myself some room here, 27.3. We still have to line up the decimal points, right? Put a 0 here after the 3. Our answer is going to be a positive or a negative. Negative, good. And we add, right. So that'd be 9 plus 0 is 9, 6 plus 3 is 9, 7 plus 7, that's going to be what? 14, carry the 1, 3. Okay, so we get a negative 34.99. Okay? Any questions? The main thing that you've got to remember is you've got to slow down, think about, okay, what am I doing? Am I adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing? I'm adding negatives, so I got to keep my negative. Alright? And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Hey, what if you just added all three of them at one time without going through them steps? Would it equal up to about the same thing?
At this point, I would not recommend you do that, because all it takes is to add when you subtract when you should be adding, or doing the wrong operation. I do not recommend that you skip these steps right now. Later on, yeah, it's okay, but right now, the negatives, I've seen students literally get problems wrong just because of the negatives. So the negatives can be a real problem if you're not careful with them. So you don't skip these steps. Not right now. When you get familiar with them and you work them through enough times and you practice it, then I can say, okay, yeah, but not right now. Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Here we have 4.7 minus, and then we have a negative 3.36, close parentheses, minus 9.63. Okay? So let me rewrite this here, 4.7 minus negative 3.36 minus 9.63. And now, you see these two negatives here? We're looking at these first two numbers, right? What can we do with these negatives? Change them, right? Change the minus sign to a plus. Change the sign to the next term. So what we really have is 4.7 plus 3.36 minus 9.63. Okay, so it's easy to see that we're going to, excuse me, that we're going to add, right? Okay, so off to the side, we've got 4.7 and a positive 3.36. And if you want to put a 0 after the 7, that's fine. We're adding. So that would be 0 plus 6 is 6. 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1. Decimal point. 4 and 1 is 5, and 3 is 8. Okay, so we have 8.06 minus 9.63. So if you want to, we can go ahead and make that minus sign a plus, change the sign to the next number. So is our answer going to be a positive or a negative? It's going to be a negative, right? Now, with subtraction like this, you're still going from left to right, but here we're going to put the negative 9.63 first, and then the 8, the positive 8.06 next. So when you're subtracting, you want to put the one that's more negative or more positive first. Okay, because we're subtracting now, so we need to borrow, right? So we're going to borrow from the 6, make it a 5, so that's 13. And so that's a 7, and 5 minus 0, that's just 0, 5, right? Decimal point 9 minus 8 is 1. Is that it?
No, it's a negative.
Negative, good. So it's a negative 1.57. Okay? You don't want to be in a hurry when you're doing these.